Picture yet. Hey, it's JD here, and I'm joined, as I am every week, by Sarah J. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Other than the technical mishaps that were happening all willy nilly on my machinery here, so
Happens.
there's that. Yeah. Uh,
But we're here
Listen,
now, and that's what matters.
that's what I was just gonna say. We finally got some snow here.
Oh, well, I could have sent you some of mine if you really wanted some that badly.
I feel like you may have. Son of a bitch.
I'm over it.
Um,
I'm over it.
yeah. All right. All right. So, what
Totally.
do we want to talk about today? I put out a brief little episode, and the episode was discussing live concerts that you've been to that have now changed in your head once you've seen the set list years later. Because it's interesting, right? Like back in the day, and this is a huge cohort of the Tragically Hip fan base, is Gen X. And we all sort of came of age in the 90s and early 90s. And there was no internet. There was no, like set lists that you could see. Like maybe somebody was fortunate enough to get, well, usually somebody was fortunate enough to get a set list at a show and maybe take a photograph of it and you would see it that way. But, you know,
But that wasn't even going out to the masses.
no, that's
There
true.
wasn't a
Right.
huge
Yeah.
reach. So even if that was happening, it wasn't like it is now.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's why set lists are even more coveted now, because you can sort of wear it as a badge of courage or a badge of honor, rather,
Oh, I'm
on your
sure.
socials, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Before we talk about that, though, I do
oh
want to
yeah.
come back to last week. If anybody tuned in last week, and I was talking about my Buffalo shows projects, I did want to share three more recommendations for people to
Oh,
listen to.
you've been doing some work.
I've been listening to a lot of shows this week, yes. Okay, so first of all, we have to shout out Darren again.
Yeah.
Every opportunity I have to give him all the kudos and shout him out, I'm going to do it. So I'm doing it again. And what episode was he on again?
He was on number 2 or 3.
Okay. So if nobody's listened to
Yeah.
his episode yet, go back and listen to it. But he's amazing and he's doing so much awesome work on the Hip Archive, all these shows. And I just saw that he added the interviews, like a shit ton of interviews on there. I mean, he is just doing amazing work. So I
I
just wanted
I
to shout him out again.
I just looked it up and it was he did You're Not the Ocean, and that was episode 2, so song number 39.
Okay. Yeah. So if nobody's listened to that episode, listen to that episode because it's a great episode, anyways, but he's awesome. So, um, June 13th, 2002, which is the Edge Sessions radio thing that you and I were talking about earlier in the week.
Yeah.
February 10th, 1999, and December 20th, 2000, which leading into the episode that just aired on Monday, there is a fantastic live version of Greasy Jungle in that 2000 show. So check that out.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So
And you were at that one as well.
that one I was not at. These are just
Okay.
shows that I've been listening to, but those are
Gotcha.
my kind of updated from last week. I wanted to.
Buffalo based
Yes,
shows.
if anybody's following along with this little project that I've been talking about, those are the three that stood out to me this week that we should check out, especially that Edge Sessions one. That one is it's a really good show. So,
Oh man,
and
I
what
need
did I
to.
say? Those were the first times that the material from In Violet Light was performed in the U.S.
Yes.
So definitely check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to. We spoke earlier this week. We had a Thursday afternoon jam session, and I meant to listen to that right away, but you know, guess what? I forgot.
Do it as soon
Surprise,
as you
surprise, surprise. But I
can.
will. But I will
Yeah.
for sure because I
It's
want
really
to.
great because there's interviews and stuff between like the songs, and even the host is just so jazzed about the whole event, and just a really special thing that they were here and did this and performed that material for the first time in the US. So definitely check that out. June 13th, 2002.
Excellent. Well, we're going to invite our friend Jeff into the conversation now.
Okay.
He is going to join us. Mr. Tucker, how are you doing?
Great. How are you guys doing?
Excellent, my
Hi.
friend. We're just
Here's-
we're just right now talking about how set lists have changed, you know, the way we might have memories of some of the concerts that we've been to in the past. Because in the past, we're relying strictly on our memory. But now we have access to all these tools, and we can see not only what songs were played on the night we saw them, but how rare they are if you go to Hip Base, and how many times they've been played live, and when was the last time it was played live. It's like sports analytics almost. And I'm just curious if you had an experience like that, Jeff. If you had an experience where, because you've seen a lot of shows, where you've looked back and went, "Holy shit! They played those three songs back to back to back," or whatever.
yeah. Before I reply, Jamie, I'm getting echoing. Like I'm still hearing you talk on my feed.
I think it's because you're not using headphones.
Okay, let me plug those in before I reply. I'm still hearing myself. I just heard myself. I'm going to plug them in before I reply.
Okay.
All the technical issues today. It's
Yeah, we're
okay.
having them today.
Seriously.
We're having them
It
today.
happens.
This is weird. There's like a 15-second delay.
Yeah, that is. Are they coming out of your? Is it coming out of your headphones now?
Yeah.
Like you can hear it in your headphones? Okay. Um, yeah, I don't. Where is your mic? What microphone are you using? The ones on the headphones?
Oh, maybe that's the problem. I'm using a microphone on my desk.
Try and just use the ones that are on the headphones,
Yeah.
because there's some latency being created somehow. That's my big word for the day. Sarah J, while we're waiting for, this is live, folks. This is live.
You're
While we're
like
waiting,
seeing it all unfold in real time. Here we are in
that's
our authentic, messy selves. I love it though. I love it.
so going back to the question I posed to Jeff, do you have an experience like that, or no? And it could be hip related or not, I suppose.
Well, my '09 show, which I don't think there's ever going to be a recording for me to go back and listen to because of the rainstorm that happened during that show.
Right.
But I made a Spotify playlist with the songs so that I can listen to them at least in the sequence that they are on the set list.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so at least I can sort of get the vibe, I guess, or the flow is the right word that I'm looking for. But I do have it's right here. I have it pulled up on here. So for me, my biggest thing was that they opened with the Depression Suite.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was my when I went back and looked at it, and was just like, oh, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And if you remember correctly, that's on my top 20. So
Yeah.
holy shit. I mean, the whole set list is really great, but the really fun thing is that the whole show ended with Little Bones, and that song, my 10-year-old has become such a Little Hip fan, and he just loves Gord so much. It is so cute. And that has become our song. He calls it our song. And
Really?
so, yeah. And so he'll say, Mom, can you play our song? And so he'll want to listen to Little Bones. And it's funny because there's so many Buffalo shows as I've been going through all the Buffalo shows. There's a lot of Buffalo shows through the years that end with Little Bones. And so that's a little fun thing that I've shared with my son. But the only show I've ever seen them play live, that's what they encored with. It was the last song. So
the famous Mud Bowl.
yes, the Mud Bowl. But no, the whole set list is really amazing. But that was like really the one that stood out. And then to go back and see this song that, you know, now when that show happened, my 10-year-old wasn't even a thought in my life. So
Wow, yeah.
And now it's our song. He loves that song, and it's our song. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Our
Jeff, are you with us? Nope.
Now we can't hear you.
Go into the settings on the actual in what are we using here? StreamYard. There's a gear. It's called settings, and if you click on the audio one, it might let you toggle to the right audio source. If you're just tuning in, this is Tech Time with the Tragically Hip fans.
I love it. It's fantastic.
You know, my great-grandfather was a welder.
Did he help?
I could hear you. We got you now.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
There you are.
Okay, cool. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Oh,
so,
man.
Have you had some time to think about my question?
Yeah. I haven't gone through all my shows, the shows I've been to, but
Right,
there's been a couple times that I've gone through shows, and for it, very similar to yourself, I went to a show in Kingston, and that was at the Memorial Center, and they played Get Back Again at that show, which wow. I had no idea that they had played that show when I was there. Well, when I was there, I knew they played it, but thinking back, like I had no clue. That was back in '95. And then there was another show, Markham Fairgrounds, another roadside attraction. I believe it was a different year, though, from when you were there, Jamie. It was '95, July 22nd. Okay. And they played a Gordon Lightfoot song, which escapes me right now. But they played in the encore. And it's interesting because I started looking at a few set lists of other shows I didn't go to on that tour through Darren's Hip Archive site. And it looked like they went through a stretch where they were playing a cover song in one of their encore sets consistently, like show after show after show after show.
I want to say that was the We Are the Same tour. They did a cover. What year was it?
So We Are the Same is 09. Oh, you might be right. So maybe I noticed that anomaly later on show. I've been like clicking on so many set lists and shows.
It's like a treasure trove that he's created for us all.
I need to be more like Sarah and make notes every time I look at anything hip related. But
and you'll just have sheets of paper everywhere.
Oh yeah, because my brain fails me on a regular. So, but no, that was 95.
Oh, okay.
And the show that I was at, where they did the Gordon Summer Side of Life was the name of the song. Right. Yeah, Summer Side of Life. But a great tune. And but just on the general memory failing, like it's I like if somebody said to me, "Have you ever seen this song?" I'd probably say yes, but I don't know when and I don't know where. So funny, like when you had kind of put this out there, I kind of thought to myself, what song kind of stands out to me? Like when I think hip concerts, and I didn't put much effort into that part because the first thing that came in mind was Blow It High Dough. But then the work came
Yeah.
in afterwards when I started going through all the shows I'd been to on Darren's site, looking at the set lists. And of all the shows I had been to, they played Blow It High Dough. I saw them play it 19 times.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and of those 19 times, it was the last song of the night 7 times. And then in those 19, 5 additional times, it was either the last song of their first long set or in the first or second encore. So literally the very end of the show, within 5 or 6 songs, 12 times Blow It High Dough was played, like right near the end. And so like when I think back, like, what stands out for me that I don't like remember constantly. It was just like part of my fiber. I could sense Blow It High Dough, and then, those. So when the little guitar and tick 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 from the drums start, it's like layers of how the crowd responds, because the people who know all the songs, they hear that and they're like, "This is Blow It High Dough," and they're like, "Yes!" And then Gord starts singing. And then there's another layer of people who are like, "Oh yes, it's this song." And then, it builds. And then they do that intro where, like, it's like the guys are just sort of making sure their instruments work, right? It's like a little guitar thing here, a din, din, din. And then, Johnny's kind of lightly hitting the drums. And then Gord does his, the intro part. And all of a sudden it's like a smash on the drums and a heavy bass hit. Boom, and then the lights start flashing white and the whole crowd like just starts jumping. And it's at that third layer where everybody in the entire building is just like, "Yeah, there it is." And then the whole crowd, you can see when the lights come on that the heads are going up and down in the crowd, like to the music. And then it just like goes from there and builds. And then, like I said, like 7 times, it was the very last song. And,
That's
then,
wild.
yeah, the
You saw it
music's,
last 7 times.
yeah, I didn't know that was a trend. Like, to like, we talk about songs, but like it's a song, but the trend that I forget is that it was often at the end of their shows. And then they walk off stage, and the actual stadium lights come on or whatever, and your ears are ringing, and you're just like, was it just that song or the whole show? It's just stopped. And then everyone walks out pumped up because Blow It High Joe just kicked everybody in the teeth. So yeah. Anyway,
You hear that energy on the recordings. That's what I love
Oh.
so much about these recordings. And some of them
Yeah,
are a little awful because they're old. But hearing
the
the crowds,
recordings.
and it's so amazing
Oh
hearing
yeah.
people singing or just the random shit. Somebody be like, "Oh, it's this song," or whatever. I
I
love
love
that
that, the random
so
chatter.
much.
Yes.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah. I
It's what I miss about like a professional live record is you never get that.
Yeah.
Like it sounds so pristine off the
Yeah.
board. But like a bootleg live, if it's a good recording, you get those chitter chatters, and it's another level.
Yeah, it is. It's
Like
super cool.
being there. That's what's so special about it. It's like being right
That's
there.
totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does. It takes you there. And just another personal story on the Blow It High Dough thing. I was at a Kingston show. It was the first show at the K Rock Center when the K Rock Center first opened, and the very
Okay.
first band to play the K Rock Center was, the Tragically Hip.
Makes sense.
Yep, 100%. And so we were in the show, and we had seats at the opposite end from the stage, halfway up. And it was great seating for us because all the volume came right back and hit us. So you could hear the show so well. Anyway, I was there. My brother was with me. A few buddies were there. There's a bunch of us, but scattered, but this one pocket. And one of my best buddies was standing behind me. And when Blow at High Dough came on, of course, we're going every time we make a beer run, we come back with, one in each hand. And so nobody was sitting down at this show as per usual at the Hip show. And when Blow at High Dough came on and it kicked in, uh, unbeknownst to me, because I was in front of him, my buddy was so excited. He didn't know what to do. He just dumped the beer on his head and just shook his hair, and he's got a big thick head of hair. Beer went everywhere, and of course I snapped my head around, as did everyone within 4 or 5 people around us. And there was a lot of guys there with their wives or girlfriends, and there were some dirty looks. And then a little bit later, as the show was going on, he just dropped a whoa, yeah, and started shaking his head. And a little bit later, my brother was standing up beside him, and the guys who were behind him that got sprayed in beer, once their girlfriends were distracted, they leaned down on my brother and said, "We totally love what your buddy did. That was fucking awesome. Our girls wouldn't like it much, but tell them we loved it." So it kind of became a thing. And he went up to, I think it was that summer, my brother was living in Ottawa, still does. But my buddy Eric went up to see the Hip at the Blues Fest. And so he connected with my brother, and they went to the show. And this was the next show any of us had seen after the one in Kingston with the Beer on Head routine. And so, of course, they played Blow at High Dough at that concert. And a day or two later, I called my brother, "Hey, I can't believe I couldn't get up for the show. How the hell was it?" And he, told me all about it, said how great it was. And I said, "Hey, did Eric do his thing?" He goes, "Oh, yeah." I go, "How did it go over?" Because then, it was like a crowd of people standing everywhere. He goes, "Everybody fucking loved it." So it's been a thing ever since. So now whenever we have a get together and it's not even a concert, we're just listening to the Hip. Someone will put Blow at High Dough on, and then he's center stage. We're all watching him, and usually a beer goes on his head for the song. So anyway,
his hair has never looked better either.
That's
Beer is
right.
such
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
conditioner for your
That's
hair.
a great flock of seagulls hairdo. Yeah, he's got lots of it. The lucky bugger. Yeah.
Although I don't know with beer prices at concerts now, how many beers you're going to be pouring over your head.
I agree. Yeah.
Oh, good call.
He'd still do one, but anyway, sorry, that was a little personal sidebar on that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's great,
legendary.
That's great.
It was good.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do. Just talk about the Hip.
Yeah. Yeah, good old Hip memories.
I have a couple box sets, and I just want to talk about the Fully Completely box set for a moment, because I recently pulled it out and gave it a look. And while it's a great package, it doesn't seem like it was put together with the same sort of afterthought as, or forethought rather, as the Phantom Power, Up to Here, and Road Apple sets are. So I'm curious if we'll ever see a fully reissue that looks different, because it's such a pivotal record. I mean, if you look at Dark Side, has been released 9,000 times in 9,000 formats. I can handle another reissue of Fully Completely if it's in the cards. How about you guys?
Well, especially if they find more things. I mean, I'm sure there's always things being uncovered. There's always materials. I mean, we've talked about this numerous times, is you just never know what you might find. Or I think maybe it was last week when we talked about this, where, time passes and perhaps there's things that previously they didn't want to release or didn't feel that it was time. And maybe as time has passed and perhaps the docuseries maybe helped ease a little bit of everybody's comfortability to release some things and maybe talk about some things and whatever. So perhaps that helped a little with what's to still be released, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Yeah, I think Jamie and Sarah, there's such an appetite for it, right? From Hip fans, there's so many Hip fans all over the world, and there's always going to be people that want more from the band, and if they can offer it, people will consume it. I mean, you know, I've been holding off on box sets to be honest with you because well, number one, you can listen to everything on Spotify, but
Yeah.
I'm torn. I don't have a turntable, and
Right.
CDs are kind of a thing of the past. And so I think I just need to get off my ass and get a turntable and start compiling the box sets. Because I think it's for a lot of people, it's like a keepsake thing. Like this is why
Absolutely.
they do these things, right? Because people
Yeah.
want these collectible items, not because they're collectors, because they're well, some people do, but you know, hip fans want them because they're a piece of the hip and they're hip music and they're
That's right.
hip material, and so I think, yeah, if you know the hindsight for them is that they didn't perhaps have the foresight when they did that one. But then as they evolved and started going through this process, they got better at it. And now they're releasing things that, you know, are a little more robust than the fully completely package.
That's right.
To me, it makes sense to go back and say, yeah, it was our first one. It didn't quite live up to snuff to what the current ones are. We're going to redo it. And I think you're going to have people saying, yes, please.
I
So,
think so
Nobody's
too.
going to say no. We're not going to be
yeah.
like, no, please don't release anything
Yeah.
at all. We
Well,
don't
that's
want
right.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
That will, no, it'll never be an issue at all.
No.
Trust me. Do it.
Yeah. No, I
I'm
think
to
it'd
the
be
point.
brilliant.
I've been listening to the hip since the new year. Well, I mean forever, but since the new year, it's almost entirely what I've been listening to. Is I just wake up and throw. I have a playlist that I made that just has their entire catalog, and then I just put it on random. And whenever they release new songs, I put it on there. So now the Feist one
Mm,
is on there, and the new ones from Up to Here are on there. And I got to tell you, those new ones from Up to Here
mm.
have now really sunk into me, and they feel really, really hippish.
Oh,
How
yeah.
about you guys?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. And that's the exciting thing about what else is going to come on anything that's released in the future. We just have no idea. But then when we finally hear it, it's going to be like, how is this missing in my life for so long? Now
That's
it's
right.
feels like that friend that's always been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jamie. And again, it's a typical hip thing where they release new stuff and you listen to it and you're kind of like, yeah, yeah, but then the more you listen to it, you're like, yeah, oh yeah,
Hmm.
right. So with the new songs that have come out on their box sets, I agree. Like initially when I listened to them, I like them because I've referenced a bootleg that I had called Outtakes from that era. Majority of the songs on that bootleg, they have an incredibly similar sound to those new songs that have been released. So there was a familiarity for me right away with those tracks. Um, but yeah, now that I can listen to them when I want and more frequently, yeah, they're just getting better as hip songs do. Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, I sound a
folks.
little bit like Barry White. I'm a little under the weather, so
Well, I hope you get well soon.
I'm on the
We're gonna
mend.
do this.
Makes for a
We're gonna
nice
do this.
radio voice. You're
Right?
good.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. Yeah. Trending
So
in the right direction.
we're gonna wrap things up at this point. We're gonna do this again next week, so we don't want to exhaust all our topics. If there's anything that comes up during the week that you think we should talk about during this show, send us an email, thtop40@gmail.com, or DM us on the Facebook group or the Instagram. All that stuff is available at TTH Top 40. Jeff, thanks for stopping by once again. It was
Oh
great to
yeah.
have you.
Happy to be
Sarah
here.
J, anything you want to wrap on?
I don't think so. I think that's everything.
I love your toque, your beanie. Now in Buffalo, do they call it a toque or do they call it a beanie?
It's a beanie.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Toque doesn't quite cross the border. I just
No.
wondered because we're so similar. Torontonians and Buffalonians.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Is
I
it
think that's right.
Buffalonians?
I think that would be right. I don't know.
If you know the answer to that question, tell us in the comments. Is it Buffalonian? I don't
What
know.
else would it be, though?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't
Yeah.
feel like there's anything else that's logical.
No.
I don't know.
Good point.
Yeah, Halifax people are Haligonians. If you're from Halifax, you're a Haligonian.
I mean, that makes sense because you have
Bonkers.
the X in there and you got to do some weird changings of things. I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, we'll leave them wanting more. How about we do that? That's what we got for you this week. Thanks for stopping by. Pick up your
Beauty.
shit.